Hey everybody, Sky here from Sphygmus Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, just sharing some tips and training ideas with you, things that I found to be useful that I want to share with you as well. So one of the things that comes from my medical background is an emphasis on anatomy, on biomechanics, and understanding of the body and the frame and why things do the things they do. Now this isn't going to be anything abnormally exciting or new to most of you, but I hope it can connect ideas and help you, add a link to the chain of your information and knowledge. So here it goes. When we are looking for submissions, or when we're working on body mechanic improvements to position ourselves differently, to unravel the attempts that our partner might have toward us, offensive or defensive, the joints that we have allow very specific motions. It's predictable. We know what the joints can and cannot do. So we try to put our joints into positions that are disadvantaged, mechanically speaking, and that put us in weak positions where injury to certain structures can occur. Now, that should inform not only our techniques, our defense, it should also inform our warm-up. It should inform our general care of our bodies. I think of shoulders usually first because shoulders are always injured in every sport, but particularly in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because the shoulder has so much range of motion and it's a very shallow joint made up primarily of soft tissue structures, unlike compared to our hips, which are a ball and socket joint. So there's a lot more bone involvement and it's a much more stable joint. And that stable joint means a lot less mobility. So again, the shoulder, high in mobility, a lot of soft tissue. The hip is gonna be a ball socket. It's gonna have much more strength, but obviously reduced mobility. So what do we do with that information? Well, I teach my partners that a common language helps us to communicate jiu-jitsu, learn it, and teach it better. So every gym has kind of their names for things. Different techniques have various ways of describing them, and then you start adding languages into it. A certain technique might come from a certain culture with a certain language. So then, especially with judo, right? I'm not a judo person, but I love seeing judo and learning it, and I never remember what some of those judo names are, right? So when we talk in a common language, it helps us to, again, communicate more clearly and understand better. So our joints, when it comes to submissions, are often put into what we call internal or external rotation. Internal or external rotation. Now, you can take the time to look at this, or maybe I'll make a video on it later if people have interest, but the idea is I'll use my arm, my shoulder joint specifically, because this is, again, a really nice way to see this, and it's a movement we put ourselves into all the time or put our partners into to look for a submission, right? So for an Americana, for example, I'm gonna put my arm up this way. So this is what we call external rotation. If I turn it down, this is internal rotation of the shoulder joint. Now, this is our Kimura, this is our Americana, right? If you take this concept of internal and external rotation, and you think about it, and you look for it in all the different techniques that we do and that we use from all the various positions that are available, you will see it in play constantly. Whether it's a defensive technique or an offensive technique, it's always at play. Paying attention to it and being aware that it exists allows us, again, to start thinking in terms of, what if I add a little internal rotation here? What if I add a little external rotation? Can my partners still accomplish what they want to accomplish? Can I alter it one way or the other to take away the advantage? My arm could be almost in exactly the same spot, but if I understand the mechanics, a small, very simple movement could in fact take away the advantage that my partner has. That's what we're trying to accomplish. That's how we find or feel the jiu-jitsu. It's not based on strength. It's not based on mass or size. It's not based on strength. It's based on positioning of the muscles and the skeleton, which either opens up opportunity or shuts it down. So take some time, look for that concept, internal and external rotation on all of your 4 primary joints, right? Your shoulders and your hips specifically. We see it in lots of areas, but for this video, I just want you to focus on that. And as you see it, it should start unlocking new ideas, because when sometimes you don't have the right technique or you don't know what to do, if you can go back to the concept of internal and external rotation, you can make up your own submissions knowing that there's a limit to both the internal and external rotation. If you find that limit, you're practically in a submission right there. As it turns out, you'll probably stumble onto techniques that have already been found before and that are being taught, right? And so it starts to build a wealth of knowledge for you. One final thing, exercises that I do and that I use for warm-ups with my team, right? So we do shoulder circles. These are like shrugs, up and down, not like little things with our arms, but like big shoulder shrugs, both directions, arms to the side, big shrugs. 3, 4, 5, 10 times even, whatever you need to do, forward and backward. Arms out this way, the same thing. Forward, backward. You can do some of these, right? Get a big range of motion. The idea is we want to move the whole joint, every part of it, right? For the hips, love this. What we're going to do is we're going to turn at the hip. The knee is going to stay straight. You can't see it because my pant leg. In and out. This is internal rotation, external rotation of the hip. And so we'll go through those every single time we train before. Because if you can strengthen your joints, not only does that give you obviously an advantage, and it's protective, but it also allows for greater flexibility. When your body is strong and when your joints are able to feel that they are stable, your muscles will respond accordingly by being more relaxed. A more relaxed muscle turns into greater flexibility. So with strength comes flexibility. It's not just about stretching out a muscle to make it longer. It's about communicating with the muscle to help it relax so you can do more with it, right? Anyway, some great ideas, internal, external rotation. If you can describe every motion you do by the anatomical thing that's occurring, you're going to communicate more clearly to a lot of people, and you're going to understand what's going on better. It's going to elevate your game. So go out there and try it and feel the jiu-jitsu.